How you guys doing today? Well, you know, I've been on the road 6 years. My name's Phil. If you didn't know that one, then you certainly haven't been following along long enough, and you gotta make sure to subscribe. Down to Mob is all about doing fun stuff with wheels. It's mostly about camping, overlanding, living in vehicles, but it's also about mountain biking and just having a good time. But this video, we're gonna compare living in a van to a truck camper. I've lived in a camper trailer before, an A-frame camper trailer before. I've lived in a rooftop tent before. I've lived in 2 really small pop-up truck campers. And my latest camper is the Mitsubishi Fuso, which is a massive hard side camper with 2 slides and a shower. And anyways, let's hang out in the ProMaster, get some coffee going, and we'll chat about the differences of what it's like to live full-time in a van versus a truck camper. Y'all fed. Oh hey, you guys are here. How's it going? Here you go. Coach, come get your food. Silly. Ooh, it's a chill morning, the pups are eating. Oh, by the way, this is my girlfriend Amanda's van. We're in Oregon right now, and she flew to Pennsylvania this weekend because she's in the Army National Guard, and she's got drill. So that's the story there, why I'm solo in her van. Dang, that thing gets loud. Woohoo! Now we can close our window. So, first thing I'll say is having 2 dogs. This big old logo AB, hey Bubba's, he usually rides right here while the van's moving in this dog bed. And then Codes usually rides in the bed. I would say it's definitely easier to have 2 dogs, especially when you got one big one, in a van, because you can open this massive door. You saw I opened the door and they just jumped right out, versus like having a ladder for them to get up and down. I think that's honestly one of the coolest things about a van versus a truck camper. Truck campers, you know, they're usually pretty high up, especially 4x4. As far as being low to the ground, the van is just so convenient just to step up into. You never need a ladder. There's tons of floor space, and there's just a lot of room. 2 dogs can jump in and out at once, which, you know, isn't that big a deal until you start living this way, and then you realize that's kind of cool. This is actually the pad that goes underneath here, and then there's a toilet. Look at that. So, little cassette toilet that just slides right out, and boom. Then, this is the only modification I've made to the van, is the 40-inch butcher block slide-out table, and that comes right here. So Yeah, you got a work area that sets up. It actually slides all the way out to there to provide a ton more countertop space. Having all this floor space allows us to slide the toilet around really wherever we want. You can also sit on it. It is a seat. But I'd say the biggest difference between a van and a truck camper is the pass-through. Some truck campers do have pass-throughs, but it's really more of a custom option. Having the pass-through is definitely, there's some benefits to it, and there's some drawbacks to it. You know, one drawback is that, as you can see, I've put up a window guard and then also window shades. If you don't do that, you don't have any privacy. But benefit of the pass-through, we can start this thing up and heat it. This van, believe it or not, did not come with a heater. 90% of the time it's fine. It's pretty well insulated. You get somewhere and it's heated up to the temperatures you need. Amanda travels pretty fast and she works, you know, typically in a building or something like that. So she's not in her van 24/7 like I am with some campers. Oh, and a little disclaimer, the van is a little bit messy right now, way messier than when just Amanda lives out of it. I threw my stuff in from my truck this weekend just to live out of her van for a weekend. So my stuff is all up here, her clothes are here and there. So don't mind that. We're at a lot of in-between stages here between the Mobzilla F550 build that I'm doing, not having a camper yet, but the truck being so dialed with all the buck stop single wheel conversion. See how low that step is? It's pretty awesome. All right, so what's the biggest benefit of a van versus a truck camper? I would say the space it takes up. This van is as long as my Jeep with the camper. The camper on the Jeep was about a third the size of the living space in here. In a van with a camper rear end like we saw at Quade's, that would provide a lot more space than just a regular van. Winnebago came out with one like that. So I think that's the biggest benefit of the van. A truck is always going to be longer and bigger because you've just got this big hood sticking out the front. But what's the biggest benefit of a truck versus a van? Ooh, this one's fun. It's where you can go. This van is two-wheel drive. It's front-wheel drive specifically. Honestly, it gets stuck pretty easy. It's not super duper capable. You're good.
Yeah, it won't pick up speed at all.
It's just not putting the power down. Do you have traction control on that? Yeah. Do you want? My buddy Zach has the Transit van, which is all-wheel drive. That would be a lot more capable. All the way up to my friend Chad, living the van life, who has probably the most capable Sprinter van ever with an Atlas transfer case, and he really does wheel that thing. So if you're talking about Chad's level of wheeling, sure, you could probably get a lot of places. But if you bring that all the way down to two-wheel drive Pro Master level, well, sides of the roads and, you know, you're not gonna be going as far as any 4x4 truck with a camper. Any 4x4 truck with a camper is just gonna outperform a van. The van is a unibody design. It's not a cab on chassis design. So it's really just not meant to flex and off-road as much in that sense alone. So this spot right here is a great example of that. We're right off of this road. I didn't even want to go further in. This is like a whole little loop spot. There's a loop over here, but it was supposed to rain and snow last night and today, and I just didn't want to get buried in the snow and not be able to get out. Even though this thing's got some fresh tires and it does work if it's got momentum. But I mean, I was in some tiny little mud even last night, and I had to give a lot more gas to get through it. And so yeah, that's the number one thing, you guys, is off-road capability, where you want to go. If a van's not going to get you there, ultimately it's not going to fit the bill. But if you want to explore, if you're not super worried, if you don't have a lot of off-road experience in general, and even having a 4x4 truck, you wouldn't really use it that much or go crazy with it, then that's one thing. But I also am a firm believer of, if you don't have it, you're not going to use it, you're never going to know what it's like to have it. Love these high protein yogurts. Mix in a little banana, maybe put some granola, I don't know, go crazy. It's delicious. It's delicious.
Need some students. This is a talent show for students. Our sponsor, Greta Donovan from Donovan Exterminators, has upped the prize money. I don't know, all right, but I desperately need that back. The one.
Another thing about a van versus a truck camper, you'd think that you have just as much space in the bed. Well, in my experience with vans, unless they have the bump outs and unless the bed is in the perfect spot in those bump outs, I don't fit. So let me actually show you here. This is me in the bed. Like, I mean, I fit, but my head's touching and my feet are touching. And so I don't sleep like this. I sleep on my side, but when I want to wake up and stretch out, it makes things a little bit more difficult. When I slept in Happy's Mercedes Revel Sprinter van, I made a video that I didn't really fit in the bed. And turns out if I would have had the bed a little bit lower on the bed lift, it would have been in those bump outs a little more. But in my experience, truck campers usually have more room in the bed. Believe it or not, my Jeep camper had a little bit longer of a bed, and it definitely had a lot more room over the top. You'd have about this much room over in the bed of my Jeep camper when the roof was down. So if you pop the top up, you'd have quite a bit more room. But you did have to make that bed. This is a permanent bed, which is really nice to have in the van. And also, you get a bunch of storage underneath the back hatch. I think that's one benefit of a van versus a truck camper. Your storage options are a little bit more flexible. You can have a massive storage back here like Amanda has in her van. And if you do like a truck bed slide out, you can really maximize that. Chad, living the van life, has a really cool setup back there as far as everything sliding out. But yeah, really been fun chit-chatting with you guys about the differences of living in a van versus a truck camper. I've definitely done a lot of both, and it's really fun to be able to live in my girlfriend Amanda's van a little bit while she's out supporting our country with the Army National Guard. So thanks, babe, for letting me use your van and watching the dogs here. And anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, all this stuff. But really, the only question is, are you down to mob a van or a truck camper? Just get out there, mob it. You know what I'm saying? You.